Friday, the 9th of September 2011. And before we get into the market, I want to talk a little bit about the 911 anniversary date. It's very difficult myself to watch the mourning going on with people as they feel the date was a tragic event caused by, well, we'll say terrorists. After all, we lived in an imaginary world before where we believed someone in a red suit, an older gentleman with a white beard, is going to come around the world every Christmas night. And then you get older, you realize that it's not real, but you still play pretend regardless. Sometimes on a Monday night, you might tune into a television show called WWE Raw. And, well, again, that stuff isn't real. At least it's all scripted. But people know that, they generally accept that, and they're okay with that. Would people be okay with the scripting of September 11th? Because ultimately, it has been my feeling for the last few years that that's ultimately what's going to destroy the fiat currency system or the confidence within it when people realize what really happened that date when they use a logical level. Okay, let's move on to these charts right now. We're looking at the weekly chart. I showed this trend line, which means that if we ever do happen to meet up with this, we all we need to do is have a nice little push. But lately, it's been grinding its way towards the upside, as we had a situation where we broke above this level, and since then it's been holding in a sideways consolidation. But at the same point, within this sideways consolidation, the current support is the previous resistance that we once faced. We are still above this 18 period average of highs, which means that it's showing signs that it wants to get going, but at the same point, until it can find a conviction above this line, then things will still be going at the slow pace. On the quarter day chart, we are making this pattern of these lower highs and higher lows. Unable to really stay forever because you'll get crunched in so much, at some point it has to explode. And whenever you have that case, you can always draw a triangle, a symmetrical triangle, because all you simply need to do is connect the higher lows as well as connecting the lower highs. What do we see here? We see that this triangle formation is coming even closer to an edge, or to a D-day period where it has to decide. There's not much room between point A to point B, but of course, there's what, 3, 4 candles or about a day before this thing would really need to get going. As far as this 5-day moving average is concerned, it's a 20 period, but being 4 periods a day, it translates to a 5-day moving average. And it's been extremely choppy going back to the end of May, start of June. Back and forth, a lot of indecision, above, below, above, below. So until things can really get going, then this is what you should expect to continue to see, a more indecision, above and below type of action. I now want to move into the pure numbers in itself. This is the daily information for silver, and the significant highs and lows have been placed in bold. We are making the pattern of the lower highs and the higher lows. But what we can see from here is that silver has stayed above 40 since the 26th of August. Silver has been above 40 every single day, even above 41 every single day since the data begins here on August the 19th. What that tells us is that it is holding the significant level. The weekly term time frame data really shows the indecision very well. I have the lowest point here of 33.38 and a higher point of 44.22. Now 38.11 was the big level that it needed to hold. Therefore, the last 4 weeks has held the level of $38.11, and since July the 22nd week, It has been above $40 every single week since that point. But again, a lot of this was showing indecision because we only have one significant low. We've still yet to make whatever that new higher low happens to be. What was the previous high before 44.22? And that's not even the high as of yet. Hot tops and bottoms are known after the fact. Am I going to take a high of 39.36? Well, no, because it was during its trend higher. Well, 35.13 is the low, so the one above that, okay, yeah, but that's the first one, 38.85. Regarding the monthly information, we had a high of 49.81, and the following month, we encountered the low. The only time that you're ever going to get that is if major moves happen in a quick period, and then oftentimes things could take a while to settle out. That's exactly what has occurred. I have this low here of 1774, and you might be saying, well, why are you taking that low? Where the obvious two lows before then was lower, which is the case, but this is also the significant level where it finally broke out of the range. Therefore, I'll take it the breakout point from when it happened. Then we reached this 2630 low. Maybe it might not have needed to be shown, but I have done that. Also, if you look at this, you might want to take a look at, well, how many higher highs or how many higher lows have we created? Well, so far, with another few weeks left, we have yet to make a higher high. We got to get above 44.22 to do that. We made a higher high before that, but really that's pretty much about it. As far as higher lows are concerned, however, since that's low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and again, another higher low. So that is important to see the pattern in this type of way. And the quarterly information, we had a significant high in March of 2008 of $21.35. We had a major crash in quarter 4 2008 that's seen silver go down all the way down to $8.46. Well, it's since made a higher high. This has got an asterisk on it as well because tops and bottoms you know after the fact. One period after you hit 49.81 and you're sitting at 41.92 doesn't mean that that's the top. It might be, and I even highly doubt that it will be. As far as the significant lows is concerned, I will start with 846. Higher low, higher, 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 lower. Higher, 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 and again higher. Every single low, with the exception of just this one back in March of 2010, has given us higher lows. As far as the highs are concerned, again, higher high. All of these are higher. This one is not higher. The previous quarter was $49.81. Therefore, we need to get above that within the next few weeks to make that of a higher high. And we don't even need to. Maybe this will be the high. Maybe it'll be 45 or 46. But it's okay the odd time after you've made 9 out of the last 10 periods to be higher highs to maybe go 9 out of the last 11. A few hours ago, I was talking about this pattern and the $42 level. I'm not going to go back into the importance of the 42 mark, but what I will mention is there ain't much time left before this pattern comes to a conclusion.